case of animal cruelty in Derby. Frank Granito has your forecast, and later on a Nutmeg Sports Update, and Donald Eng will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. And since we were out yesterday, we also have a preview of your front pages today. But first, Connecticut is digging out this morning, and students have another snow day following Thursday's winter storm, which dropped a significant amount of snow made more treacherous by high winds. Now, take a look at the whiteout conditions shot by our New Canaan advertiser at 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Now, thankfully, officials say most residents did stay off the roads while plows were working, and as you can see, visibility not good there. Now, whiteout conditions were reported obviously elsewhere, including in downtown Milford, as seen in this photo from HAN's Milford Mirror. Now, the city reportedly had about 11.6 inches of snow. Some other snow totals for the area per the National Weather Service are Stratford with 13.2 inches, Monroe with 13 inches, Wilton with 12.5 inches, New Canaan with just under 10.5 inches, Greenwich with 11 inches. Now, impacts of snow this morning include Metro North operating on a reduced weekday schedule. Some trains will be combined while others will be canceled due to the impact of the storm and extremely low temperatures. Now, rail customers should anticipate delays and use caution when entering and exiting trains and on platforms and staircases. Now, earlier this morning, HAN's Wilton Bulletin reported that there were 10 to 20-minute delays on the Danbury branch line due to some mechanical issues. And in other storm-related news in Darien, a tree fell on a house on Phillips Lane and broke through a skylight there. Now, the homeowner thankfully was fine. Darien First Selectman Jamie Stevenson reported from the scene, telling the Darien Times that Norotan Heights Fire Department was doing an awesome job cutting the tree limbs off of the home, patching the skylight, and then cleaning up inside. She said it was phenomenal service from the volunteer fire department. You can get more on that story at DarienTimes.com. And in other winter storm-related news, the Fairfield Fire Department battled a blaze in difficult conditions Thursday afternoon, as seen in this video shared to the department's Facebook page. Now, Fairfield Engine 1 and Rescue 1 battled that car fire on I-95 northbound near the rest area. They reported that blinding snow, gale force winds, and a frozen nozzle caused by the Arctic cold made that routine fire much more difficult. No word on if there were any injuries in that blaze. And 2 Milford men were arrested January 3rd, charged in connection to an extreme case of animal cruelty, where they reportedly stole 20 chickens from 2 yards in Devon, and then killed the chickens with their bare hands on Christmas Day. Now, police say 28-year-old Gregory Ulrich of 64 Park Avenue and John Budnovich IV, 21 years old, of Valley View Road, had left a local establishment December 25th and embarked on their crime spree from just after midnight until 4 a.m. Now, Budnovich was driving, and they proceeded to smash the windows on several motor vehicles in Devon area of Milford, and then they went to 2 different locations and stole 20 chickens and killed them with their bare hands. Now, several of the chickens were located in adjacent yards. Ulrich was charged with larceny, criminal mischief, animal cruelty, and interfering with a police officer. His bond was set at $15,000, and he's scheduled to appear in court January 30th. Now, Budnovich was charged with larceny, conspiracy to commit criminal mischief, as well as animal cruelty, evading responsibility, and driving a vehicle while his license was under suspension, as well as using a vehicle without the owner's permission. Now, his bond was set at $5,000, and he will also appear in court on January 30th. In other news, Darien police arrested a Stamford man January 2nd accused of assaulting 2 people while under the influence of marijuana and PCP in an incident that happened at Whole Foods December 8th. Police received a report of an assault in process at Whole Foods Market parking lot on Ledge Road at about 2:45 in the afternoon. Now, the suspect was identified as an employee of Whole Foods, 27-year-old Derek Gonzalez. According to police, Gonzalez was combative at the scene, acting erratically and screaming incoherently. He was handcuffed and restrained by police and began to claim that he couldn't see anything. Now, Darien EMS and paramedics responded to the scene and sedated Gonzalez, who later admitted to using marijuana laced with PCP. According to police, a 59-year-old disabled Whole Foods employee was attacked by Gonzalez while collecting shopping carts. The victim said Gonzalez grabbed his jacket with one hand and his groin with the other and forced him to the ground near a pile of rock salt. Gonzalez then repeatedly slammed the victim's head into that pile. Now, a 57-year-old woman who had parked in the lot saw the 2 struggling and attempted to intervene. She yelled at Gonzalez to get off of the older man, but Gonzalez then ran towards her and began attacking her. He knocked the woman to the ground, kicked her in in the head, jumped on top of her as well as pulled her hair and began slamming her head into a pile of rock salt as well. Now, eventually, other bystanders in that parking lot restrained Gonzalez and waited until police arrived. Now, both victims sustained minor injuries. During that entire incident, police say Gonzalez was screaming uncontrollably and resisted officers' attempts to detain him. He subsequently was transported to the hospital. Police applied for an arrest warrant on December 20th and were able to take Gonzalez into custody on January 2nd with the help of the Stamford Police Narcotics and Organized Crime Unit. He was charged with assault of a blind or disabled person in the 3rd degree, as well as assault in the 2nd degree, interfering with an officer, and breach of peace. And in other news, Reading's Mark Twain Library will be closed for the next few days due to a furnace issue. Now, the library has been without heat for 2 days, and it was determined on Wednesday, January 3rd, that the furnace will need to be replaced. Now, the library will be closed while that situation is being addressed, and you can get updates at thereadingpilot.com. All right, well, speaking of cold temperatures, let's throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at your forecast. Frank.
All right, well, thank you, Kate. And it is only getting colder now as we head into the weekend. We're looking at mostly sunny skies today, but that really the only positive. Temperature sitting around 10 degrees. With the wind chill this afternoon, it's going to feel more like -11, and we are staring down severe wind conditions. The U.S. National Weather Service has issued a wind chill advisory in effect through noon tomorrow. We're looking at very cold wind chills, and these wind chills can cause frostbite in as little as 30 minutes to exposed skin. Expect the wind chills range reaching all the way down to -20 or lower overnight before Saturday. Saturday, a little bit of sunshine, but still very windy out. Gusts between 25 to 40 miles per hour at times during the day. Again, you're looking at temperatures around the negative teens throughout the afternoon, and overnight, it'll be mostly clear overnight, a little less windy out, but still very, very cold. Should start to warm up a little bit on Sunday. We'll see sunny conditions, not as windy out, and the wind chill number sitting in the positive range. So things trending up as we head towards next week. Just got to survive the cold for a couple more days. For now, though, let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Lang will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have more local news after this.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
Welcome back to this January 5th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Lang to get a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, it was 65 years ago when the world first saw something. First, though, we're going to go back to 1914. The Ford Motor Company announces an 8-hour workday and a minimum wage of $5 a day plus bonuses. That's the equivalent of about $38,000 today. And it was also double the prevailing auto workers' wage. Now, that year, the company sold 308,000 Model Ts, more than all other car makers combined. By 1915, sales had climbed to over 500,000. By 1920, Ford was selling 1 million cars a year. As Henry Ford himself later wrote, "We increased the buying power of our people, and they increased the buying power of other people." To 1949 now, President Harry Truman unveils the Fair Deal program, intended as a follow-up to FDR's New Deal. The Fair Deal included about 24 federal initiatives, including investments in education and job training to help World War II veterans transition back to a peacetime economy, a streamlined wage scale for federal employees, also universal health care coverage, the birth of the modern Democratic Party's push for that particular program. After much deliberation, Congress rejected most of Truman's Fair Deal. 1998 now, 20 years ago, U.S. Representative Sonny Bono dies in a skiing accident, actually the second widely publicized skiing death that winter, Michael Kennedy having died just about 2 weeks earlier. Best known for his third marriage to Cheryl Sarkeesian, we call her Cher, Bono got into politics when he had trouble putting up a sign on his Palm Springs restaurant. He would later successfully run for mayor of Palm Springs and then Congress. In 1994, Bono's widow, Mary, completed his term. Finally, now we go to 1953 in Paris for this.
Two thieves crucified at the same time as our Savior. One. Our what? Our Savior. Two thieves. One is supposed to have been saved, and the other damned.
Saved from what?
Hell.
I'm going.
And yet, how is it? This is not boring you, I hope.
That actually was 1953 or Paris. That was actually New York. In 2013, that was the great Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen performing Waiting for Godot. There was actually, believe it or not, a furious existential argument took place in the studio while that clip was playing. That was the acclaimed 2013 Broadway revival, perhaps the most stripped-down, minimalist play you'll ever seen. It is considered the most significant stage work of the 20th century. That's your look back in history for today, January 5th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, the Ridgefield Planning and Zoning Commission voted to deny an application by the Ridgefield Boys and Girls Club that would have extended the town's central business district to include that 6.75-acre property on Governor Street where the club currently resides. Now, as the commission handed down its decision on Tuesday, January 2nd, Chairwoman Rebecca Muchetti said that allowing the residentially zoned club to expand into the CBD is truly an introduction of commercial use into a residential zone, and for that reason, it didn't have her support. Now, Muchetti gave an example, saying that if the Boys and Girls Club wanted to sell things, if they wanted to open a restaurant, they would be allowed to do so. Commissioners also expressed concern about what would happen if the Boys and Girls Club ever left that property. Several commissioners feared that a commercial development could snap up that lot and harm the character of that residential neighborhood that abuts the club. Now, attorney Bob Jewell, who represented the club at the hearing, argued that in that case, the town would have the right of first refusal to buy that property from the club before any developer could. However, the property most recently was valued at around $8 million. That high price concerned Commissioner John Katz, who suggested that were the club ever to close or leave that location, the town might not be in a position to come up with the cash to buy the property. There's a lot more on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And in other news, Zach Standen, the Joel Barlow High School graduate who became partially paralyzed after a car accident in 2016, is hoping to raise money to get stem cell treatments to regain feeling in his legs. Now, the treatments are offered at the Stem Cell Institute in Panama, and this will be Zach's second trip to the institute. He went for the first time last June. According to Zach's mother, Christine, the treatments can increase his chances of regaining feeling in his legs. Zach has a T6 spinal cord injury, which means he has no feeling below his chest. Now, to raise funds for that trip, he and his family have organized an electronics recycling program. Now, through January 31st, they're collecting printer ink cartridges, cell phones, iPads, and tablets. His mother, Christine, said all data will be cleared and all will be recycled instead of going into landfill sites. Now, she explained that every dollar earned from the program will go toward Zach's Stem Cell Fund. Drop boxes are located now at Samuel Staples Elementary School in Easton, Joel Barlow High School in Reading, the Reading Ridge Market, and the Easton Village Store. There's more on that story at thereadingpilot.com. And an increased number of homeless men, women, and families are expected to take shelter at the Bridgeport Rescue Mission this week as dangerous cold temperatures are forecasted to continue into coastal Fairfield County. Now, preparations are underway at the mission to ensure adequate resources and spaces are available to meet that increased demand. The mission is asking the community to help with donations of cold weather essentials to care for the homeless during this extreme weather and throughout the winter months, including some winter gear like coats in larger sizes. Donations of food staples such as hearty soup, macaroni and cheese, and baked beans are also needed as the mission expects to provide an increased number of meals to those seeking emergency shelter. Another way to help care for the homeless during this critical time is through monetary gifts to help cover the cost of the mission's utility bills. Now, you can bring donations of food and clothing to the donation center, which is located at 1069 Connecticut Avenue, Unit 2B in Bridgeport. Now, that's open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also make an online donation at bridgeportrescuemission.org. And in other news, Weston's Emmanuel Episcopal Church is holding its 12th annual Epiphany Bonfire on Saturday, January 6th. Now, the event is described as a great way to dispose of Christmas trees and do something for the good of the community. Residents can choose to drop off or bring their Christmas trees to Emmanuel at 285 Lions Plain Road or call the church and a volunteer will pick it up from their home. Now, the suggested donation is $25 if you bring your tree and $35 if it's picked up. At 6 p.m. on Saturday, Emmanuel will hold its bonfire with all the trees that were collected. This is a family-friendly event made possible by the support of the Weston Volunteer Fire Department, who will stack the trees, control the fire, and then extinguish it completely. You can get more information at thewestonforum.com. But let's throw it over now to Frank Granito for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. Wednesday night, the HAN Network was live at the Darien Ice House, a rematch of last year's boys hockey FCX final, the Ridgefield Tigers and the New Canaan Rams, and this story playing out very similar to the 2017 Conference Championship. The Tigers all over the Rams in a 5-1 victory, improving to 2-2 on the season and sending the Rams to their 4th consecutive loss to start the year. Let's look at the highlights from Wednesday night's Tigers win.
Big question mark was how is Clark Jones' team going to come out and play early on. I liked how they're grinding on the ice. A lot of bodies hitting the boards right now. I like Seamus O'Hara. A lot of intensity with these Rams early on here, guys.
Well, even more intensity now as the Tigers on the board. It is 1-0 Ridgefield. Dale Irving will be credited with the goal.
Irving set up to the right side, the stick side of Spain, and just sneaks a shot through. I think it did hit Spain, but then trickled in underneath him.
Great. Spain, another save. Pickering looking to clear. Can't get it past the blue line. Rister's tipped, scores!
Boys, that's going to be Luke Welsh on the deflection there.
Are known the best opportunity of the game for New Canaan. Could not convert as Gordon made a big save on the breakaway. Pass up ahead, and now off to the races is Owen Luft. Luft, backhand pass through the slot, scores! Walker has it in the slot. Deflected wide that time. Short angle shot by Irving. It's poked out, and it's a goal.
I think there may have been a save initially, but the loose puck pounced on by the Tigers, and they make it 4-0.
It's another. Down on the boards, Cullinan again. Towards the front of the net, scores! Now coming away is Lewis. Lewis lets a wrister go. Save made, the rebound, scores! They're on the board with 1:34 to go. It is Jack O'Hare, the beneficiary of that Parker Lewis rebound. So the Rams will be back at it on Monday looking for that first win for head coach Clark Jones. They'll take on the Stanford West Hill Co-op. The Ridgefield Tigers, they travel to Hamden tomorrow. Big matchup there against the Green Dragons, coming off a big loss to the Greenwich Cardinals, who remain undefeated in early season play. Obviously, a lot of events last night and today being postponed to this weekend. Make sure you follow along with your HAN Network websites on Twitter, and we will keep you up to date on when those games are going to be replayed. For now, though, that'll do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. We're going to go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, John Kovach joins me, and we're going to preview the front pages of our newspapers this week after this. We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Our Ram trucks get the job done with unparalleled style and performance. Call, click, or stop in to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck that you've been looking for. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Save thousands at the 2018 Auto Show event and Start Something New sales event. Now through January 31st.
At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. And since everyone was snowed in yesterday, John Kovach, our editorial director, joins me now to preview our front pages. You can now go pick up your copy. If you didn't get it yesterday, you'll get it today.
If you didn't get it in the mail, should come today as well. Milford, the Milford Mirror takes a look back at the top stories of 2017. A plan has been approved in terms of it meeting wetlands regulations. A local businessman has published the big ginormous book of clean jokes and riddle and what happened to Doc the Parrot.
All right, well, taking a look at the Easton Courier this week, enrollment decline will level off in school projections. That's what those projections are saying. There's also a new master plan proposes accessory apartment changes, and conservation developments may also bring some scrutiny there in Easton. A story we just brought you on Coffee Break, and that's that Zach Standen, a paralyzed teen, is raising funds for some new treatments. Also, Easton looking at its top 10 stories of 2017. One of those interesting stories was that a member of Easton EMS was found to have a large amount of weapons in his Duxbury, Massachusetts home. But more top stories from the year on the cover.
The cold weather's brought skating to Darien. We have some photos by Lorene Valenti of hockey and just some recreational skating on Gorham's Pond. Just a beautiful Rings End Bridge there. Seems like just yesterday, Kate, we did the election coverage, but the town political committees are already getting ready to caucus. And a look back at Darien in 2017. The top story, lights finally coming to the Darien High School athletic field.
All right, well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Monroe Courier this week. It was a busy New Year's Day for firefighters in Monroe. They had a couple house fire calls there. More on that story. Also, the science of snow plowing. Interesting look at that as far as local highway department workers and what happens when a snowstorm is approaching. Also, the Board of Education approving a $56 million budget proposal. And more on a local business still thriving 30 years later.
They rang in the new year a little early in New Canaan with an event for families with young children that held at Waveney House. Cool idea there. Discussion with new First Selectman Kevin Moynihan about the possibility of moving the Board of Education offices to vacant space at the police department headquarters. The town looking for a permanent ban on medical marijuana dispensaries, and a look at the top stories of 2017.
All right, taking a look at the Stratford Star this week. Melvin Mason's photos of what looks like a very cold frash pond off of Main Street near Sikorsky Airport. Also, Laura Hoydick resigning her state representative seat as she takes on her role as mayor of Stratford. Stratford native also seeking a kidney transplant. More on that story in this week's Stratford Star.
The Wilton Bulletin reporting that Weir Farm will represent Connecticut on a U.S. quarter, that part of a new set being minted. More decorations and lights, that they were a debate in Wilton around the holidays, would require some fundraising. A look at their Hurlbut Street School, Wilton's lasting schoolhouse, and ASML wanting to expand its facility in Wilton.
All right, taking a look at the front page of the Trumbull Times this week, just an unbelievable photo of a fertilizer truck that caught fire in a Trumbull driveway as that owner was attempting to winterize it. There were no injuries, thankfully, in that blaze, but obviously not much left of the truck. Also, some big news we had earlier this week on Coffee Break, and that's that the Kennedy Center has named a new CEO to replace outgoing CEO Martin Schwartz. Tim Herbst, who is running for governor, has called for GOP unity, but also slammed an independent candidate as well. Now, police seeking suspects in mall assaults, and department apologizes to tree buyers. The volunteer fire department has apologized for the quality of their Christmas trees this year. It said it will explore other options in next year's tree sale.
In Reading, a car crashed into the river in late December. We take a look at that. A profile of a Reading artist who loves painting outdoors. Discussions of a possible ban on fracking waste in Reading. There is also a similar debate going on in Weston. Insights from 6 new teachers, and a story you just brought us about Zach Standen trying to raise some funds and trying to regain feelings after the accident that left him paralyzed.
All right, well, taking a look at the Shelton Herald this week, some happy New Year's news, and that's that Lisa and Michael Mastronardi welcomed their second son, Nico, into the world on New Year's Day. It was actually Bridgeport Hospital's first baby of 2018, born to that Shelton couple. Also, superintendent in Shelton explaining the method of canceling and delaying schools as we get into this winter season, and had our first cancellations this week. Temperatures also dropping to dangerous levels. Spooner House, which feeds many local people, obviously trying to get some donations there for what's going to be a very busy time. And the Valley Community Foundation receiving a $1.4 million bequest.
The Weston Forum takes a look back at 2017 in sports and news. The Hurlbut Elementary School PTO raised $50,000 for a playground at the school's North House, and a group wants Tesla to be able to set up shop in Connecticut.
All right, well, taking a look at the Ridgefield Press this week, a group of Girl Scouts helping a friend, being her advocate for access, for handicap access in town. So very cool story there. Also, St. Mary's Church plans to refresh and add to the church. I know last year there had been some plans mentioned to kind of replace the church, build something new. Parishioners did not like that, so they've kind of changed plans. They're going to add on to the church and just refresh some things.
I've just got to point out that if you're looking for a house with a luge track, there is one available in Ridgefield. There is an Olympian from Ridgefield. And if I was only 30, 40 years younger, I might think about that.
And you had $3.5 million to buy the house?
Yeah, keep throwing hurdles in front of me, Kate. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so some interesting around town news on the front page of the Ridgefield Press, including more on that luge track. All right, John, what else?
And in our arts and leisure, dinner for when you can't. I just can't cook tonight.
I already can't even.
I know. It's just too cold and too dark. And a profile of the comedian Colin Quinn, and I want to put a shout out to Keith Loria, who wrote the story, because it does begin some 30 years ago with Colin Quinn co-hosting Remote Control on MTV.
All right, very cool. Well, we are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but we have a special Yankee fisherman coming at you on a Friday, right, John?
We are not going to let the cold hold us back. We'll be a day late. We're going to look at an ice fishing derby that's coming up to benefit the Riverton Trout Derby. Should be a lot of fun, as well as an update on the new regulations in Connecticut.
All right, we're going to wrap things up here. Wishing you all a great weekend. Stay warm. We'll see you next time.